Here's Archie's Travels, Chapter 45, entitled Seaside. But it's cold and snowy, said Dolly. It doesn't matter, James added. We need to have some fun, and Archie needs a long walk, he said, smiling. Damn it, you're right, said Dolly with a wide, perfect smile. Aren't I always, he said, with his cockiest grin. How do we get there? Asked Dolly. We don't have a car, and even if we did, we can't drive. Have you heard of buses? He said mockingly, and he grabbed her hand, and before she knew it, they were on their way. They went top deck, right at the front, and Archie looked out at the frozen fields laid out all around him. He was excited, and his tongue was lolling out, and spittle was drizzling the leather seats like honey. You are disgusting, said Dolly as she patted Archie's head with her black mittens. Jokingly, the bus was cold, and they fastened their coat buttons higher, and they wrapped round their scarves. Although the view was pretty, it was an uncomfortable, cold, and bumpy ride, and after half an hour Dolly was becoming impatient. How long before we get there? She said, warming her hands on Archie, which he loved. Just be patient, said James, but he wouldn't say it. But he was becoming impatient himself, and he couldn't wait to get there himself. Finally, the bus came to a stop, and the people got off, but there was no buckets and spades in sight. It was too cold for that. Where to now? Said Dolly, who was busy stamping her cold feet on the ground to warm them as they were tingling and they had gone to sleep, and she was determined to wake them up again. Let's go, said James. It's too cold to stand still. Where to? Said Dolly, who was running to catch up. To the beach, he said. Where else? The beach was very pebbly, and the thin layer of snow softened the crunch somewhat, but it also made it slippery to walk on. Archie was loving it, and he was running about and jumping up and down like a jack-in-a-box. The sea was quite still, and it was quite romantic in a frosty, romantic way, thought Dolly. Archie peered at a lighthouse in the distance. That's the distance line, James announced with a grin. Wow, it looks so far away, said Dolly, but inside she was pleased, as she had always thought that lighthouses were special. It looked like it was about a mile away, and the wind was blowing hard, and it was making it difficult for them to get there. Dolly's hair was blowing everywhere, and it was like being blasted by a large hairdryer. Archie's short fur was looking spiky, but at least he was enjoying himself. James laughed as his flat cap flew off into the distance, and he was too tired to run after it. It's okay, I can always buy a new one, he said, laughing. Dolly felt younger than she had for years, and it was a great feeling. She felt all of her cares and worries melt away, and she and James laughed heartily when Archie ran round and round, chasing the seagulls. He didn't want to hurt them, he just enjoyed the chase.